Okay, folks, turn 32. Nothing really to report. We did retake Ogden Mercs. I lost a number of my Malaya Druzhina, unfortunately. Barbarians are very bad for Malaya Druzhina. They hit super hard. So I lost 7 of them. 7 of the 16. That said, 51 kills. Pretty impressive. I also lost my 4 Khlisti, but who cares about them? So, we've re-established our borders over here. I should get somebody over to site search for death. I do need to send some guys out to site search for death, actually. And I also need to have Ivan. I haven't researched thaumaturgy yet, have I? I have not. I've only got thaumaturgy level 2. I need thaumaturgy level 3 for the remote site searching spells. So we're just going to insert that here in between our blood magic. And that'll be fine. I don't have any blood slaves yet. I've got a few coming. But I'm going to let these guys blood hunt for one more turn before I get a scout over to pick them up. I've got a bunch more Simargles up here, but I'm not sending them out yet. As soon as Varlam gets back here, I'll move them up to Annika and start patrolling with Simargles. And probably some of the troops that I've recruited as well. My army is rolling in on Uzid Yazran. They've got 138 siege strength and a pretty significant Thunderstrike communion, so they should be fine. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 communion slaves, which will push everyone up to Air 4. They've got a guy casting Power of the Spheres, which will push the slaves up to Air 3 real before, you know, communion bonuses. So they'll be Thunderstriking for like 3 fatigue per slave per cast. They'll be able to do plenty of damage. They do have some air gems just in case, but I don't anticipate needing them. And of course, I just have more troops than the enemy does. They have about 60 units. I have upwards of 120, so we should be just fine. No trouble here. Assuming, of course, that Patala doesn't decide to stick their oar in, but we have a non-aggression pact, and this army wouldn't be able to take it out. Sviatoslav and Yakim are moving from the first forest into the woodlands. We can see the battle in the first forest. I lost exactly 1 Zats. Despite having a ton of province defense here, it was all Bear Tribe warriors, so it didn't really make a difference, ultimately. Just was not enough. And see, the Malaya Druzhina just got in there and absolutely carved them up. No trouble whatsoever. Malaya Druzhina are just pretty damn good. So, we're still searching for sites. We've cast Arcane Probing, haven't found anything. Summoning more Simargles, summoning more Firebirds. Yeah, summon a Firebird. Actually, no, don't summon a Firebird, because I need those gems to remote site search with Ivan for fire sites. So that'll be fine. The question now is, where shall I go next? I had talked about Utgard. I had also talked about Ulm. Ulm is clearly blood hunting. It looks like a lot of their army is moving away from the border with me. That's fine, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get together with Atlantis, who is Perun, and see if I can cajole him into aiding me against one of those two, or possibly both. I mean, I think the two of us could potentially take out... Aha! When did that happen? Oh no, that was always Atlantis. Never mind. I was thinking that Atlantis had taken over this fort from Utgard, and I was like, when? Oh, Atlantis and Utgard are at war. When did that happen? No, I was wrong. That's been Atlantis all along. But yeah, somebody over on this side, one of these 3 players, Ulm, Utgard, or Atlantis, needs to go. I don't have great access to Atlantis because Patala is in the way. So, Ulm or Utgard. The other option, of course, would be to attack Patala, which might not be a terrible plan. You know, maybe not a bad idea. And, of course, there is Pythium. Pythium got really a lot better in one of the latest patches, where their serpent assassins became any fort. Which was one of the big, like, limiters on them, was that they had so many capital-only units. But now the, where is he? Serpent Assassin. Yes, the Serpent Assassin can now be recruited in any fort. So they can now recruit this guy, who is an Assassin 2, he can scale walls, and he's armed with a Serpent Crisp with Death Poison. So if you're a human, if he does any damage, he's likely to kill you, even if you then kill the Serpent Assassin. That's pretty good. That's a step forward. There were a few other minor changes, a couple of national spells, I believe. I really should do a video going through that patch. Of course, if I do, it will probably be before this ever releases. But in any case, because this is... Right now, I'm a couple weeks ahead on this, at least. So yeah. I really should do something about that at some point. But Pythium, not quite the absolutely terrible, worthless, ignorable nation they used to be. But I'll take Uzidyazrin. I've got this army up here right next to Ulm. So, like, I could, theoretically, incidentally, I'm gonna send Vladimir up here to get a temple built. I could potentially just fight Ulm. They will have blood, they will have their vampires. They've got their stealthy, you know, astral mages, the members of the second tier. And they've got fortune tellers with lots of random magic, but I don't know. I feel like this fight would be winnable. Now, the big problem would be, of course, masses and masses and masses of crossbows. But masses of crossbows are stoppable with masses of, you know, air elementals and or blood summons. Once I get the blood economy cranking up, then I'll be in a slightly better place. But honestly, I'm not in too bad a position. I have randomed air death on a Camazotz, which is pretty neat. Now, it's not as neat for me as it is for other nations, because I already have the air death crosspath on a communionable mage and from Startzi. But having it on a fast, stealthy chassis is pretty neat. So we're going to be searching for sites with him. We're going to search for sites with an occultist or two. And also, I've been free spawning. Alexis here has been free spawning Chrisley. Hasn't been giving me unrest yet, which is good. But they should probably leave at some point fairly soon. So I'll need to swing a commander through here and get them going. But for right now, everything's going fine in a little bit of a holding pattern. 427 research points per turn, that's fine, and that will only go up since now my mage recruitment has expanded enormously, since I'm now recruiting mages from all of these forts that I wasn't actually recruiting mages from before. So my research is about to take off. And hopefully that will give me lots and lots of good shit in the coming turns. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 33. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's turn 33, and kind of a hilarious turn 33 it is. You may notice that Erythia appears to have reconquered their capital. Because their god woke up. Their god, their imprisoned Death 5 Serpent of Chaos, just woke up. His bless is completely unimportant. What's important here is that he has 300 hit points because of his Dominion bonus and regeneration, which means he regenerates 30 hit points a turn. So, my province defense that I just put in this province goes ahead, charges in, casually murder their way past his summons, start doing damage, and they do damage, they just don't do 30 damage a round. His protection is high enough that these spears don't hurt him fast enough to handle it. So, he just regenerates right through all the damage. It's sort of hilarious. So, Dorun the Serpent of Chaos has temporarily locked down Erythia. I don't really care all that much. Also, I lost in the Woodlands because I didn't remember that they had quite this much province defense. 149 units. And since I didn't send any mages, it was just units versus units. They had more units, they won. My Malaya Druzhina got isolated, my infantry got chopped down, and I didn't have as many crossbowmen as they did, so I got overwhelmed that way as well. So, lost the army, lost about 60 units, slightly more, about 70 units actually, once you count the retreats. And, yeah, that happened. Fortunately, Uzidyazrin lost all its tax. Well, actually, I just moved into Uzidyazrin. This was the, this province here. So, lost all its tax, but its tax was almost nothing anyway, so, who really cares? This army is starving, because supplies here are very low. See above Wasteland. So I am starting to get diseases on some of my troops. Once again, don't really care. None of these troops are super high value, and it won't affect the mages. So that is all fine. Dorun is going to need mages to kill. He doesn't have... my troops just don't have the oomph to get rid of him. So, I could move up mages from down south. That's probably eventually what I'm going to want to do, but I think I can finish this siege in this next turn. It says the place is moderately damaged. It has 250 wall... it's probably going to take 2 more turns. Darn. The way to kill Dorun here is to summon air elementals at him. Should be. I mean, he's size 6, so he's not going to be trampled, but shock damage will stun him, which will prevent him from using his Venomous Fangs attack and lower his defense to 0. So he'll be overwhelmed by more and more hits. And, excuse me, air elementals will also be doing armor negating damage to him and chipping through his hit points pretty quickly. On top of that, of course, his Dominion should slowly be going down. I don't have any temples up here at the moment, unfortunately, but we can have those temples fairly shortly. Vladimir can't really advance, unfortunately. Sudislav is going to have to go over this way. Vladimir is going to have to go back to there, and I need to deploy the more air mages. So we're going to deploy 7 air mages. It's going to hit my research again, but it's okay. My research is good enough for right now. 450 per turn is perfectly viable. So we've got a decent grip of troops that we're going to start moving away. We're going to stop recruiting those archers because I don't need them. I have 686 gold. I might want to build a fort in Caverns of Gold, to be honest. Or I might want to start upgrading towards citadels. Having citadels is never a bad plan. Or, of course, I could build a fort here in Kratas to get access to Onyx, Priestesses, and Sorceresses. I don't think they're super important, to be honest. And Amazons cost way too many resources to actually be practical. So Varlam here can take some troops. I've got a whole bunch more flying puppies that I can use for patrolling. My blood hunting is starting to pay off. I'm going to be turning those blood slaves immediately into sanguine dowsing rods and moving them out. I've got Semyon, who is an heir to Astral 2. Starets. So that's nice. Right now the Staretsi are just still staying at home, researching, which is fine for them. They might get diseases or something, but I can cure those. Once I get a little bit of blood slaves back here. So not too worried about it. Right now I'm a little bit in the holding pattern. Good old Cock here is going to be sneaking around site searching for death. That'll be fine. We can actually move him right up there. Site search there for death. And I'm getting another one out in this coming turn. Yeah, I don't really need to build a fort here. The Kamazots are nice, but they're not super valuable, so I'm not going to worry about them too much. And yeah, we're just going to let... Honestly, Dorun can't break into the province. So right now he's costing me a little bit of money, but my income is pretty solid. I don't need to worry too much about it. I certainly don't need to try to bust out early and get myself killed. I could potentially launch out these 2 Astropelagists and these Peshtsi City Guard and just summon a couple of air elementals on him real quick. That might be enough to do it, to be honest, because they'll stun him, and he doesn't have a good answer to being stunned. But I don't really have anything I can summon right now either. I could summon some wyverns, I guess. But he's immune to poison. Or I could summon a few griffins. Once he's stunned, griffins will kill him. I mean, once he's stunned, anything will kill him. He has Prop 15. It's not enough. Or the other thing I could do, of course, is I could just get a bunch of Astral Mages and spam Astral spells at him. I haven't researched Thaumaturgy, so I don't have Soul Slay. I haven't researched Thaumaturgy to a high level, at least, so I don't have Soul Slay. But there's lots of ways to kill Dorun. I just don't have the pieces in place to do it right now. To be honest, I can actually afford to pull these mages away and just set them to... yeah, summon air elementals real quick. I'll have to rejigger the communion here, but not a problem. I'm not going to bust in this turn anyway, so that's fine. And move my troops over there. We'll get my scouts kind of deployed out a little ways. Get you a little further into Olmish territory. Get you right up there. And that, I think, will be where we are for the moment. So, I'll see y'all next turn. Up, we've got a Nagaraja moving around site searching underwater. Patal has claimed the whole lake, unsurprisingly. That's fine. Patal is doing okay, but I think I'm doing just as well, territory and income-wise, and I don't feel threatened by them. So we'll just see how things progress. In any case, see y'all in turn 34. Okay, folks, turn 34, a very good turn, mainly because Capcirco has returned! That's right, Capcirco, well, it's actually another Bogatyr. But Capcirco the Bogatyr is back in action, ready to go, good as new. I have 2 extra commander points this turn, so I'm going to get started on a double starets here. And we're also going to return to recruiting Malaya Druzhina, because I have a whole bunch of extra gold from somewhere. On top of that, we're going to use some of that extra gold to start upgrading Amika. Actually, instead of upgrading it, just now we'll build a temple. But my income is actually quite good right now. So, I got Capcirco back. In Land of 7 Years, I gained a free Crown of the Magi. This is useful. Crown of the Magi is a very expensive item. It gives you fast casting, which means that it makes all of your spells cast 30% faster. You put this on a mage, who's already quite powerful, and it means that if you're casting a spell that is, say, 300% cast time, like a really high-level buff or something, it will go off at 200% cast time instead, roughly, 33% less. The main value of this is, if you're in a late-game battle, essentially, where you're in a competition to see who can cast a vital buff or battlefield clear spell faster, the Crown of the Magi means you win. So that's super valuable. Also, I was attacked in unknown marshes by Dorune, the Serpent of Chaos. And we demonstrated here exactly how Dorune can be defeated. I happened to have some Astrapelagists here. A couple of them had some air gems. And so, when the battle started, they summoned air elementals. And those 3 air elementals jumped over here to attack Dorune. Now, they have this lightning swarm attack. It's only 1 attack, it's only 6 damage, but it is armor negating, and it's shock damage, which means it can stun. So Dorune here is down to 172 max hit point, or sorry, 240 max hit points. So he's over his maximum right now because he moved from someplace with higher dominion to someplace with lower dominion. So he's not regenerating just yet, but even so, he's going to be regenerating 24 hit points a turn. However, 24 hit points a turn, as it happens, is also what these air elementals are doing on average. On top of that, so they're doing damage. He takes damage, he starts to regenerate, and he's regenerating through that pretty effectively. However, his attack is not magical, which means it has a 75% chance to just fail to hit an air elemental anytime he attacks an air elemental. And then, the other troops close in. Now Darune's HP is trending down, because he's taking more damage on average than he's dishing out. Also, he gets stunned by the shock damage. Stun is a factor of how much shock damage is being dealt, I believe, as a proportion of your total HP. I think. It may actually just be affected by raw damage. So basically, these air elementals just roll high once, and he's stunned. And when he's stunned, he can't take any actions. It lasts about 1 combat round, but he keeps getting hit by more shock damage every round. When he's stunned, his defense skill drops to 0. It says, or minus 75%. You can technically have some defense skill, but between the harass penalty and the stun, his defense skill is nothing, which means that every attack then begins to hit. My infantry actually routes, and he has dropped 1 air elemental a size point, but at this point he's taken a ton of damage, and he's also taking close range arrow and crossbow fire. One of my Astrapelagists blinked himself over here for no real apparent reason, but it doesn't matter. Dorune keeps getting stunned again, his hit points are still trending down, the air elementals are eating him up, and then my mages start casting Thunderstrike, which doesn't help. So at this point, Dorune breaks and runs with 40 hit points remaining. Just because of a couple of mages. Couple of mages, and he's donezo. A couple of mages, and then a few units, but not many units, to be honest. Unfortunately, he did retreat to Erythia as opposed to dying, which is, sad, but it just means that I'm going to go back in. So I'm attacking once again. I have 2 mages this time, but they're going to be leading a small communion, summoning air elementals, and it should definitely wipe him out, or at least force him to retreat to the woodlands. He may be able to survive in the woodlands for a short time, but it's not going to matter. He has no income, he has nowhere he can really recruit units, nothing he could do with any of his money if he had any money, so Erythia is donezo. Absolutely done for. And of course the gem income has been mined for a couple turns, which is very, very nice. Over here, 1 turn, I think, away from cracking Uzid Yazran, I'm sending Rincewind over with a bunch of air and astral gems to make sure that I can summon elementals and wipe the place out with minimal casualties. And down here I have more troops with Osip moving north. Wagyobath is going to move down to Bogarus. I've gotten my first infusion of blood slaves, so these gentlemen here are going to forge sanguine dowsing rods. And this gentleman here is also going to forge a sanguine dowsing rod. Actually, not these guys, because this will be a little bit more efficient. We're going to forge 4 sanguine dowsing rods over here. That will significantly increase the efficiency of our blood hunting. In the meantime, I have some commanders who can lead puppos. So, Varlam here is going to take the flying doggies. He's going to move north with them up to Annika so that we can be patrolling there with flying dogs. We've got flying dog patrols here. We're going to have flying dog patrols in our blood hunting province, and of course you may notice unrest is still going up now. We could use another couple of flying dogs there, to be honest. So what I'm thinking is, how many have you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't need 8. Take 2 out. Give 1 more to, you keep 6. And then those 2 can go to, well, in a minute we'll send somebody over there to get it. Maybe we'll send Capsiarco to get it. Unfortunately, scouts can't carry them. Cock is searching. We've got Bitol running around, about to search for death. So our gem income should be going up pretty soon, and we're at blood level 4. Midgard has been permanently vanquished. So my ex-wife has been permanently vanquished at the end. She did not rule a single province, and has nowhere to return. RIP. I do have some fire gems still, and I am going to start casting... Have I researched thaumaturgy? Yes, I'm going to start casting augury. So over here, I was summoning more firebirds. We're going to be selling 1 firebird a round, because our fire gem income right now is 4. So we're summoning 1 firebird per round, and also casting augury once per round. So hopefully our fire gem income will start going up fairly shortly. And that is about going to be the turn. We're in a decent spot. Could, of course, be better. Could always be better, but I think we're in a decent spot. And I think probably the thing to do is to try and get Atlantis to go in against Utgard with me. I still... Gosh. I'm still having trouble deciding between Utgard and Ulm. They're both extremely dangerous. There's good reasons to attack either of them. What I'm doing right now is just kind of building up troops over here. And now that I have Startsi, I have a little bit more in my pocket than just Astropelagist spam. I also, of course, have the Occultists. Although for those, I would need to make those really effective, I would need to crack Enchantment up to level 5 at least. Having Enchantment level 5 isn't a bad idea anyway, though. I mean, Horde of Skeletons, Pale Riders, that kind of thing. That would be good. Even going up to number 6 wouldn't be terrible. Although Rigor Mortis isn't really super useful for me, it's hard for me to use. In any case, that, I think, is going to be the turn. We're in a pretty good spot. In a couple turns, we'll have Blood 5. We'll be able to start summoning. We've started our construction of Sanguine Dowsing Rods pretty soon. Our Blood Slave income is going to start to pick up. We'll be blood hunting a lot of provinces. This province, definitely. That province, this province. We can blood hunt in Maine. We've got plenty of occultists sitting around waiting for it. So I'm actually going to swap that out for an occultist here and start pumping out some crossbows. And I think we're going to be in a good place. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 35. Okay, folks, turn 35. This turn, we have declared the end of our non-aggression pact with Ulm. The countdown will actually start next turn, because it's fairly close to the time the turn is going to end, and Ulm requested that because he's not going to be able to get back to his computer in time. I like the player of Ulm, and getting an extra turn will actually help me probably as much as him. The reason I'm ending my non-aggression pact with Ulm, as opposed to Utgard, is twofold. First of all, Ulm is, I think, as dangerous in the long term as Utgard, if not maybe more so. Ulm has a lot better blood access, and in the late game, that will be very important. Secondly, Atlantis here, Perun, is going to be joining me against Ulm. Now, that's super dangerous because, of course, Perun is A, very good player, and also B, fucking huge already. Just from what I can see of him, he's big, he's large, he's in charge, he's dangerous. It's going to be a problem. But I think I can kind of... He's noticeably larger than me, I would say. Like, what I can see is already about as big as my empire, if not a little bit bigger, and he's got more territory down here, I'm absolutely certain. So, that's dangerous. but I think I can justify it. I think... I mean, basically, the issue is he's going to benefit from me going to war with one of my neighbors no matter what, because he can attack both of them. So, I might as well take advantage of that fact, if that makes sense. We are starting to set up our flying dog patrols. Varlam here is moving up, and all of these mages are moving up into Anika. Anika's recruiting more and more archers. Archers are pretty good at fighting wolves. I do also need some frontline infantry here, and unfortunately I'm fairly short of resources there. Got a whole bunch of crossbows coming out here, but I'm actually going to swap those out, I think, for Peshtsi City Guard. Nah, for standard heavy infantry, because they only cost 10 gold each. And fewer recruitment points, so I can get some more of them. Well, actually... yeah, I can get some more of them. There we go, so we'll get a little bit of frontline infantry going on. Over here, I am storming Uzid Yazran. We've got some air elemental summons going on. Should be a pretty good time. Summoning air elementals there. Konstantin here can actually give his gems up, because he doesn't need them. There we go, so we'll summon some air elementals, we'll storm the castle, it should be fine. Rincewind is hiding. Actually, Rincewind should hop over here to site search. Pafnudi is also site searching. Darun, the Servant of Chaos, has moved into the First Forest. It's a fine move on his part, but it's not going to save him. Oh, I haven't recruited a mage here. I've got a whole bunch of air mages moving in with some troops. They're going to cast air elementals at him. If he moves over here, they'll just take the province and then follow him and clean out the province defense there. Spamming air elementals should be able to deal with Darun and the province defense if I have even a little bit of troop support. However, I do need to swap my gold expenditures. We're going to cancel that. We're going to cancel the second Starets and replace him with an occultist, I think. That gives me 360 gold, so that up here, I am a little bit short of resources, so I think what I'm going to do is... I get 3 Malaya Druzhina. That leaves me really short of resources. I guess instead I'm going to spam Voice Spearmen, because I can get a fair number of them. And then we do have 3 commander points up here. I'm going to go Astropelagist, and actually let's cut some of those guys out so I can go double Astropelagist. There we go. That should be fine. Actually, tell you what, those are 8 gold. Let's swap in a couple of Peshtsi City Guard at the same time. Great. So I'll have some troops, I'll have some mages and gems and such. We should be able to storm the woodlands. I am really short of air gems at this point. I've got a lot of water gems. I've got a pretty decent quantity of death gems. Some pearls, some earth gems. If I could swap water gems for air gems, that would be pretty fantastic. But should be taking Uzid Yazran very shortly. And then this army will be traipsing on over to prepare for the assault on Ulm. Yellow Caves I should probably take over. It's got mainly Pale Ones and Wolves in it, so there's not a whole lot of magic power here, unless it's all hidden, which shouldn't be if they're researching. There are more tougher troops over here, Zweihanders and Infantry of Ulm. Then, of course, Ulm itself is way over here. I think I can probably chop off kind of the eastern front fairly easily if I can just build up the magic density there. I've got Osip moving in with a whole bunch of archers plus a few cavalry. Heading over to, I should actually head him over to Anika. Well, no. We're going to go up there towards Yellow Caves. Got a few more Malaya Druzhina here with Wagyobath. 1, 2. It's going to take him 3 turns, so I can wait like 1 more turn, but I don't have any money, so it won't really help me to do so. I am still recruiting Kamazots down over here, and speaking of Kamazots, I should be moving around. Related, we're actually going to be moving a couple of guys down carrying these things. We've got 4 of them. We're going to move 2 of my occultists south, carrying Sanguine Dowsing Rods to hand to the Bloodhunters down here. Unrest is really high, so we're also going to take 3 more dogs to add to the patrolling forces, because they're not doing the job that I need them to do of keeping Unrest down low enough to not matter. But the blood income is starting to come in. 12 good blood slaves. I need more than that for sure, but the Sanguine Dowsing Rods will help and then I will start churning out more Sanguine Dowsing Rods with my Blood Slave income, and I should be ramping up to, I don't know, 50 or 60 slaves per turn in fairly short order. I've got a whole bunch of occultists standing around ready. I can blood hunt in Annika, I can blood hunt Ard, Zaburia, Buggerwold. I have plenty of provinces lined up, I just have to start activating that. It is going to kind of dampen the growth of my research, but that should be fine. Speaking of research, we've got Evocation level 5, so I can cast Storm out of an Astropelagist Communion. I can also cast Stellar Cascades, Astral Geyser, all that stuff. But what I need now is I'm going to need buffs pretty quickly for combat to be functional. That means that I need Alteration. Evocation is fine. Enchantment level 4 gives me anti-magic. Higher levels wouldn't give me anything that's immediately combat effective very quickly. Level 4 also actually gives me Flaming Arrows, which could potentially be handy since I have a lot of archers. But what I need to run down Alteration to level 7 and get Fog Warriors, Marble Warriors, Doom, all that stuff pretty quickly. So that's, I think, going to be the next run. As soon as I hit Blood level 5 here, I've got, you know, a bunch of the stuff that I'll need to summon higher level demons. I can actually bind devils now without too much trouble. My stats, I can forge Skulls of Fire to boost fire if I need to. I can empower blood as soon as I have a little bit of you know, blood slaves to empower with. And I can use those to summon devils and such. But I just need a little bit more build-up before my blood economy really, really comes online. So, you know, in a way, I'm kind of going into war against Ulm a little early, but with Atlantis' help, I think we can rip Ulm apart pretty quickly. And it'll, even if I only get these 4 provinces, it'll put me in a better position gem-wise, at least. Plus, I'll grab a fort or 2. And that should really help. Atlantis, knowing Perun, he's probably going to come out with a lot of Ulm. But, if he comes out with a big piece of Ulm, and I come out with a small piece of Ulm, and then I can convince Utgard and potentially Patala to help me fight him, then I may be able to set myself up in a decent place. Haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to Pythium over here. Pythium, Shabalba, Phlegra. I'm not sure what all is going on in this part of the world exactly. I don't have a lot of scouts over there. I definitely need more. So more scouts is exactly what we are going to send. Send some more scouts over in that direction. Hope they don't get patrolled to death on their way. Pythium seems to be doing quite well. Good for them. They're in a solid position, but and that province just got bogus. Nice. So in any case, that is turn 35. I'll see y'all in turn 36. Let's see how this goes. It's a touchy situation. We're kind of in the early mid game now. I'm set up okay, but not fantastic. I still have to take care of Darun, the Serpent of Chaos. But as long as I can do that in the next 3 or 4 turns, I think I'll be set up to go in against Ulm and hopefully do some significant damage. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 36.